Casey's biggest hits.
3 years ago this week, one of the biggest hits in the USA was Wild Night by a rock star who at the height of his career quit the business to become a landscape painter. I'll have details and that big hit after this.
Casey's Top 40.
Well, now we're up to the latest hit for John Mellancamp, a super successful singer who has spent years working on a second career as a landscape painter, a career he began on a dare. It all started in the summer of 1988. That's when John's wife at the time wanted to buy a painting that she loved. But when she told John it would cost $15,000, the singer hit the roof. He couldn't believe the painting was actually worth $15,000. He said he could do as well himself. Still, his wife wanted that painting, so John made her a bet. He'd do a painting himself, and if it were good enough, they'd forget the one for $15,000. So John got himself an easel, oil paints, brushes, and some canvas, and he started to work. And that's when something amazing happened. John discovered he had a natural talent for painting. He was great at it. He just loved to do landscapes, and soon he was painting 8 to 10 hours a day. The more John painted, the more he came to realize that he wanted his painting to help others, and he decided that instead of selling them, he'd donate his paintings to charity. The charity he selected was the Nordhoff Robbins Music Therapy Foundation, an organization that helps treat handicapped children by teaching them to communicate through singing and playing instruments. The paintings John donated sold for as much as $10,000 each, and they raised so much money for the Music Therapy Foundation that they honored John with their Silver Clef Award, an award presented to the rocker at a special banquet in New York City by the Duchess of York, the woman people the world over know as Fergie. This week, the singer who launched a second career as a painter because of a bet with his wife rises 2 notches to number 20 on Casey's Top 40.
Casey's Top 40.
Well, now we're up to the second song in our survey this week by John Mellencamp, a singer who makes all of his music in a small town in Indiana. His studio there is a down-home kind of place, a place where you can make your very own peanut butter sandwiches. John Mellencamp has long made it clear that he doesn't do things the way other musicians do. And that means first and foremost that he doesn't make his music in trendy music business centers like New York, London, or Los Angeles. Instead, John likes to work in the relative quiet of the small farming town of Belmont, right outside Bloomington, Indiana. In the mid-'80s, John built his own studio there, and that's where he makes his music at his own leisurely pace. A new album can take months, or even years. It all depends on how John feels. John loves the laid-back feeling of Belmont. No fancy hotels or restaurants, and no stretch limos. Just down-home middle America. And John's recording studio reflects that feeling. There are no fancy catered meals by gourmet chefs trained in Paris. Instead, John says the rule at his studio is, quote, you make your own peanut butter sandwich. That down-home feeling really works for John. Perhaps it's one of the reasons he's had 21 top 40 hits. This week, the latest of those hits climbs 2 notches to number 20 on Casey's Top 40.
Number 40.
The first of our 4 debuts is that new song by John Mellencamp, a singer who says he's surprised to still be recording after nearly 20 years. Since starting out, he's withstood changing music trends, record company turmoil, and even a mild heart attack. And he's still going strong. Here's his latest hit, Just Another Day.
Casey's biggest hits.
3 years ago this week, one of the biggest hits in the USA was by a rock star who at the height of his career quit the business to become a landscape painter. By the late 80s, he had more than a decade of rock success under his belt. He'd hit big with songs like Crumbling Down, Pink Houses, Paper and Fire, and Cherry Bomb. But he says there was a part of his creative soul that just wasn't satisfied. He'd always loved painting. He was an accomplished amateur, and so he decided to hang up his guitar and replace it with a paintbrush. For the next 2 years, John Mellencamp painted landscapes for a living. He sold a fair number of them as well, but eventually he found himself missing the raw excitement of the stage. And so he came back after a 2-year break with a string of songs that included one of the biggest hits in the USA 3 years ago this week.
America's Top Hits.
15 years ago this week, one of the top hits in the USA was by John Mellencamp, a song inspired by his involvement in Farm Aid. a song that's a tribute to what he sees as a vanishing America. Along with Willie Nelson and Neil Young, John is one of the organizers of Farm Aid, which helps family farmers who have lost their land to the expansion of sprawling corporate farms. It was John's work putting together the first Farm Aid benefit in 1985 that inspired him to write a song about what he saw as a vanishing breed. The heartland world of small-town America, with its family farms and stores and neighbors who all knew each other and stood by each other through thick and thin. For John, that was the very heart and soul of America, and it was dying. These are thoughts that he put into words in one of the top hits in the USA 15 years ago this week.
American Top 20.
Now, here's a hit by John Mellencamp from 1982, a song John said was inspired by his own life, Jack and Diane. And the countdown continues.